Want to make something really cute for Easter? Home baker and contestant on the Great Canadian Baking Show, Alina Fintineanu, joins us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Annette. How are you?
I'm doing very well. So you're going to make something with meringue, which I find really intimidating, but you're going to ease me into this.
I will show you how to make absolutely perfect French meringue, and you're going to make this delicious Easter dessert. These are meringue bird's nests. They're so cute and easy to make. You can make this at home, and I'm going to show you how. So first off, let's talk meringue. There are three types of meringue: French, Swiss, and Italian. Today we'll be making French meringue. Now, before you begin, you want to make sure your mixer bowl and your whisk are completely clean and free from any grease, fat, or residue. So you'd like to give them a good wipe down with a slice of lemon to remove any of that. Next, you've got 2 room temperature eggs. Now, a rule to keep in mind is that room temperature eggs will whip up better than cold eggs. So put your 2 room temperature egg whites into your mixer. You're going to add a sprinkle of salt, half a teaspoon of vanilla, and a quarter of a teaspoon of cream of tartar. Now, if you don't have cream of tartar at home, don't worry, you can swap that out for half a teaspoon of lemon. You're going to turn that on and whisk on low to medium speed until you reach a stage called soft peak. Now, soft peak is when you pull your whisk out of the frothy egg whites, and the peak that is left by them will immediately topple over. At that point, you're ready to start adding your sugar. So you're going to be adding half a cup of sugar to this recipe. Now, you want to make sure you're not just dumping it all the way in at the same time. You want to add it in gradually, about a tablespoon at a time, to make sure the sugar really mixes in and incorporates perfectly so that your meringue is not left with a gritty kind of feeling and bite at the end. Once all your sugar is added, you're going to add in 3/4 of a teaspoon of cornstarch. Now, cornstarch is like the hidden hero of meringue in the sense that its effects become apparent after baking, and it will leave you with shells that are dry on the outside and have a beautiful chew in the middle. So sprinkle on your cornstarch and increase the speed up to high and keep on whisking that until you reach something called a stiff peak stage, which is something you just saw in that video.
Yep.
When you pull your whisk out at this point, the peak that is made by your meringue will stay exactly where it needs to stay. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can probably grab your bowl, invert it over your head, and just stay where they are.
It's not going to get your hair, right? Now, how long does it take these nests to dry then? And do you dry them, like, you don't put them in the fridge to dry, do you? You just leave them out?
Definitely not. So these nuts need to be baked because you want to make sure the egg whites are being baked so that they're safe for consumption. So after you're done your meringue and everything is fully ready to go into the oven, you're going to have your nest. They will look something like this, and the recipe will yield about 7 to 8. And you're going to pop these into your oven at a temperature of 300 degrees Fahrenheit. As soon as they're in the oven, you're going to bump that down to 250 and let them bake for 1 hour to 1 hour and 15 minutes. The golden rule of baking meringue is low and slow. So you want to bake it really slowly at a low temperature. Now, once that hour is done, or at any point in the baking, do not open your oven door. If you do, cold air will rush in and it will crack your meringue, which is definitely not what you want. So after the hour is elapsed, there's unfortunately a bit more waiting time. So you have to wait 1 more hour with the oven closed and then crack the oven open and give it an extra hour in there just to really slowly bring it to room temperature so that nothing cracks whatsoever. And the nests are done. That was basically the hardest part. So now we'll make the buttercream, which is going to go inside and kind of make these little branches inside of the nest.
Okay.
This is super easy. 1 cup of icing sugar, a 1/4 cup of room temperature butter, 1 tablespoon of cocoa powder, 2 tablespoons of milk, and a sprinkle of salt. Beat these together with a hand mixer or with your stand mixer, and you should have a frosting that looks brown and ready to roll, something like this. You're going to use a 233 tip, and all you do, there's no special technique to this one, you just give firm pressure from the top, and you just squeeze. And the icing will just flow right out, and you can do any sort of pattern or design that you want, but all you really want to do is just make sure that your nests are filled as much or as little as you like. And at this point, this is the easiest part. The third component, you don't even have to make. You're just buying this. This is chocolate eggs. So these ones, you can just grab, pop in as many as you like, whatever colors you wish. And this is honestly like the easiest dessert. It's absolutely adorable. You can make this at home super simply. I highly recommend it. I think it's very cute on an Easter dessert table. And on top of that, it's gluten-free. So what more could you want?
Very cute. And it's something that you should really make ahead, right? Because this isn't something that you can whip up like a cake in a couple of hours. So with all the drying time, the low and slow, I've learned so much about meringue with you today. Thank you. And we'll get your recipe.
My pleasure.
Yeah. And by the way, your Instagram site is amazing, Luxe Baker. And we'll get that link up at chch.com. So nice to meet you, Alina.
Thank you so much for having me, Annette.